So please welcome Deb Clark to the show. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you for having me.
You're
Hello,
so
everyone.
welcome. Oh, I'm so excited. It's a Saturday and we get to have light language talk. And I had a session with you, gosh, a month or two ago. And, I have had, oh gosh, so many friends that have had sessions with you and have activated their light language. So, of course, that's interesting to me. And it's just for some reason come into my space so much lately. So that's interesting to me. So, having you on here and explaining what is, I think, coming into this, like everyone's that word light language isn't an odd word anymore. It's very much something
It's
that we
starting.
speak about, right?
Yes, because we're creating movement right now.
Okay.
And, soul language or light language, there are differences between light language and soul language, slightly different.
Okay.
But it's because we're raising in vibration collectively. So now it's becoming, online. People are coming like online is what I call it to it. So it's starting to calibrate within them and they can't ignore it because some of these people that are now calibrating to it, it's because they're starting their soul's missions and helping humanity.
Okay. So before we get into it, I
Yes.
just want to at least give the people and describe your awakening because I know it wasn't that long ago. And I think
Mm-mm.
your story is amazing because people will relate. Well, if she can do this, we all can do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. If you would have told me, back in 2017 that I would be doing this, I would have laughed at you. And I would
Right.
have laughed at people speaking it,
Right.
because it would have been funny to me. Right.
Oh,
Because
totally.
I think that's the first thing people do when, is they giggle and say it's different, it's funny, or they go into fear either way. But actually started waking up and noticing a shift after I had carpal tunnel surgery.
Hmm.
And I started seeing a lot of spirit, and I just kind of was like scared at first of spirit. And then I started empowering myself to not be afraid of spirit and kind of try and understand it more. And in around 2012, I started seeing myself astral back to my body in my dream state. I would actually see myself and see me coming back up my stairs into my bed and then waking up. And I was like, okay,
Oh,
something's
wow.
crazy happening. And, I started self-meditating. I just knew intuitively that I needed to go inward
Hmm.
and start connecting with who I was because I was so tired of the person I was.
Hmm.
I was tired of the Debbie Downer, the negative, negativity that I was housing in this, duality of life, okay, of the humanity. And, we walk in this lower vibration. And so I was just tired of who I was. I was tired of all the experiences I was having. And so I just intuitively started meditating. Came across, I just started watching like channeling videos. I was really drawn to channeling. I saw this woman speaking light language, and it was like a magnet.
Hmm.
I just connected with it, and I was fascinated by it. And little did I know that this was my soul mission. But
Right.
clearly, you will gravitate and be pulled like a magnet to those things that you're in alignment with
Hmm.
energetically. And so that was the first kind of little taste I got. And I watched all of her videos. I was so fascinated. I can't remember her name, but if I can remember, I'll share it with you.
Okay.
And anyway, I forgot all about it. Forgot all about the light language. I watched all her videos and started just kind of watching YouTube channeling videos and came across this one channel called Channeling Eric, Erik. And it was this lady talking about her son, how he crossed over and now he connects with mediums to help give guidance and help understand energy and how to connect. And there was a medium that was channeling him, and I connected him with her group, and she was starting a course to learn how to channel. And I jumped right in. I was like, it was kind of pricey. And I was like, well, if it's meant for me to take
Hmm.
this course, then I will. And the money showed up and I jumped right in, and I was like, okay, this is how it works, you know? And I remember we had to practice live on camera, and I was so nervous, you know, for my first time. And I was like, if I don't do this, I'm never going to do it. You know, I had to push through that fear. And it was just very natural. It just felt very natural. And she asked me to be a mentor in the next course that she was teaching. And then I started teaching after that.
Wow.
Yeah. Then light language came into the picture.
Okay.
So
Go
my
there.
story, some people, light language activates first within them, and then they start learning how to channel. Well, for me, it was, you know, I started really with essential oils and really understood the power of essential oils. Then I started getting it. I would teach courses and start tuning into people and realized I was channeling, you know, channeling for people that wanted to know why they had pain and what oils help support pain. And then I'm like, are you a truck driver? He's like, yeah, I'm a truck driver. How did you know
Wow.
that? So I started kind of realizing I was channeling in with, you know, my, you know, teaching people about oils. And then light language came in the course. There was a friend that was speaking it, and she says, this is coming out of me, and I don't know, understand why. And, you know, she was very vulnerable, and I cried, my soul cried. And I just had that response of, I don't know what you said, but my soul understood it.
Right.
And I cried, and it was an emotional release for me. I never understood it. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't understand light language, what it was here for, but it touched my soul. That's all I know. And slowly I was doing healing sessions, which turned into me having words start to come out and light language. And I realized I was speaking it. I knew it was light language, but I just didn't know how I accessed it. I was trying to figure out, like, how did I do that? And so I reached out to the same person that was in the course learning with me. And we had like a swapsies of energy exchange. And I did work on her. She did work on me. So she went deeper with me. Her name was Dee Cruz. She's a fabulous reader. And she like opened me up, you know, and I just cried for a whole hour straight, just letting everything out, which when you're activated with soul language or light language, your own personal soul language, it's a release. You're finally like, oh my gosh, I can now access emotions that I couldn't access before. And so it really starts the healing process.
Wow. So explain, this light language, it's your soul's language. It's coming from your heart.
Yes.
It's you're remembering your soul's
Expression.
expression.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say activated, because you need to be activated, some people don't need to be activated.
Well, sometimes it activates on its own timing, and some people are contracted, like their soul contract is to be activated by others and get that assistance. Okay. And I do believe that is what I'm here for, is to help activate people that are not understanding how to access it, but it's part of their mission. And then once they are activated, then they start remembering me. That's why I teach the course, to help them start understanding the remembrance process of it all, because it's all memory. It's not like, oh, I'm going to teach you how to do this. This comes from intuitive understanding and memory. And so the activators, the people that are already activating people and the people that are speaking soul language, they've done this before. You know, they know that this is what's needed. This is our understanding. It's a connection to universal consciousness of communication. That's what it is. It's all that is. We're connected to. And so when you speak your own dialect, that's what I call soul language. And that is your connection to your own self-expression. And so the one that you're activated the first time with, or the one that you speak with, is your soul language. And then it can start to elevate to, you know, other incorporating in fractals of you. And these are channels, which is light language. These are your guides calibrating to you and to your energy, so you can access higher levels of consciousness or communication, different densities.
So why would someone want to do that? Because they just are, tell me.
Well, the people that are raising in vibration collectively, they want to be able to communicate to your guides on a higher level of consciousness and understanding. So what we're in is ascension, correct?
Right.
Okay, so our job is to elevate our energy so we can communicate to higher levels of consciousness. And in order to do that, light language is part of that. If you really want to bust the doors open and you want your clairs open, like your clairvoyance, your clairaudient, your, expansive psychic abilities, soul language helps to bust open the doors, but it also helps with the healing process of the trauma, because that's what ascension is. It's healing the trauma that we've not only picked up on our, this life, but also other lifetimes that we've had just on Earth, or it could be in other worlds. And so we're kind of healing those aspects of ourselves to raise our vibration, to access higher levels of communication, of understanding, because we are in ascension. Earth is ascending. She's an ascended planet. Okay. So we have to go with her, right? In order to do that, we have to raise our vibration and
Will some people
understand.
not go with her?
Some people are contracted in a different, what we call reality. I don't know if you've heard of timeline shifts and things like this, and different parallel timelines. Okay. So some people come here to learn lessons. Okay. We learn in the darkness. This is how we learn.
Right.
And so we learn our lessons here. We learn how to get out of it, not to repeat those lessons. And if you notice, if you look around, people are repeating the same lesson patterns of behavior, right? Well, that's how we learn. And it's Eric, my guide's coming in right now. He's saying, and sometimes he says, yes, sometimes it's, learning, from that darkness that helps us, show us how to get back to, our soul's connection to love. Trauma will create that depression and trauma, and you're trying to figure out, how do I get out of this? And sometimes those spiritual awakenings come in the darkest parts of our moments, like grief, losing a parent, wanting to connect with a parent, or loss of a child, helps you to connect more spiritually. And so we'll have those things that kind of occur to help kind of wake us up. Everybody has some sort of awakening.
Right. And in this lifetime, your soul contract, you're fulfilling that. And that was when you're feeling pulled to something, like you were saying earlier, like that's like, that you're remembering that's your part of your soul's
Part of
contract.
your soul's contract. Exactly. Part of your mission. And you might not know why you're feeling gravitated to certain things, but just know whatever gives you joy is what you're supposed to focus on. Whatever you're interested in, that's where you're supposed to be gravitating to, is the things that give you joy and happiness. And unfortunately, a lot of us get stuck in the mundane, the day-to-day hustle and bustle of life, and we forget to connect with Mother Earth. We forget to look up in the stars. We forget to do all of that.
Right. I was listening to you, and you had a few other people on a Zoom call, and that you were all doing light language together, and it was all so different. And so you sounded so different than the octaves, and the other people's voice were so different. I mean, in their hands and all that. Will you explain that and what's coming through each person?
Right. Well, we have the coding with the hands is when you tune into that interconnection of self, expression. And so we understand that clearing energy is super powerful. We have this ability, everything is energy, and we have the ability to move out dense energy. Codes can come in also in the form of hand gestures and symbols. And a lot of people that do Reiki, I don't know if you've heard of Reiki, but Reiki, or there's a certain symbol that identifies a certain meaning of clearing, or, self-healing, or whatever. And so coding with light language is specific to that person's energy. Everybody can speak different dialects. That's depending on whatever your proudest lifetime, or the lifetime you've had the most. And for me, I'm Lemurian. I had a proud lifetime here as a Lemurian here on Earth. But I also have Pleiadian connections, and I'm more of a collective consciousness, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a picture of my higher self, that a
Oh,
woman
okay.
right here, which is androgynous. There's both masculine and feminine energy that I carry, right?
Hmm. Okay.
And so it's everything that I'm speaking is also a fractal of me, because once you attune to different light languages, it becomes a fractal of you. But what they're doing when in those moments is clearing energy, putting codes in. Sometimes it's a transmission, which is a message, okay, from a guide that might step in. So it's probably most likely what you were watching was a channel. You were watching us channel their guides in those moments.
But why
And
does
they're
it
all
sound
here to help us.
and it's like some people are doing, this woo, this a different tone.
Uh-huh.
So because we all have like the people you're showing me behind you, they're
Mhm.
all different. They sound differently.
Right, right. Depending on what needs to be cleared. So keep in mind, tones hit the body differently,
Okay. Got it.
energetically. Okay. So for instance, I can be going deeper with a light language or different tone that's going to reach your lower chakras. Okay. And they could be up in your, it's, channeling a different dialect, such as a fairy dialect, which reaches higher frequency, higher pitches. Some of the insects or insectoid dialects will come in really, really, really high pitched.
Mm-hmm.
That will clear all out in your upper chakras. Okay. And then you can bring in also your guides. Some of your guides are animal guides or insects. They're guides from other planets. Okay. Just keep in mind that everything is energy, everything has vibration, everything has a tone. I don't know if you've seen those devices that hook to plants and they're able to hear the tone of that flower
Oh,
or that.
no.
Oh, yeah. Everything has vibration and a tone.
Yeah. Honey.
Yeah, and everybody has the ability to match that vibration. Those are activations. So when I'm doing an activation, for say, I have one coming up for the Octurians. Okay. If you want to be calibrated to Octurian dialect, I have people match my vibration in order for it to kind of activate within them. And then I bring the coding and clear anything out of the way so that they can connect with that vibrational understanding, communication of consciousness from those beings. Okay. Now, I'm sure you have lots of questions about channeling beings like this,
Right.
because that seems to be like the fear that comes in with people.
Right.
But what I tell everybody is I set intentions because I hold the power here. And this is where you have to claim your sovereignty. Okay. If you believe that you're going to be housed by something lower vibration and something's going to come in, then you're going to give yourself that experience. So I just don't put it in my experience. Everything that I channel is high vibrational. It's here to help humanity and here for the collective shift
So
and
you never
raising.
have had a lower density. You've never.
I've seen it. I've felt it, but I don't allow it. I just push it out. I just push it out of my space. When you become higher vibrational, they can't attach to you because they attach to lower density vibrations, and they also attach to depression, sadness, grief. They can overcome that. Okay. But it's really as easy as just claiming your sovereignty, but you give it love. You don't get angry. You give it love. You thank you for the lesson that you just taught me, because that's what they're here for. The lower density energy is here to teach us to get out of the lower energy.
Right.
Okay. Somebody has to play that role energetically, right? Yeah.
What does it do to your DNA? Does it activate your DNA?
Yeah. Activates, expands. You're going to feel like a totally different person. When you're activated with soul language, you realize we've been lied to. That's how it feels.
Huh. And
Yeah.
explain that. Tell me how you felt like a different person.
I was shocked. It was empowering, first of all, when it just started flowing out of me. I could not shut up after, my session with my girlfriend. I could not shut it off, and it felt empowering. I felt like I was finally accessing a part of me that needed to be expressed that I was suppressing.
Hmm.
And so it empowers you. It makes you feel good to express it, even if it's different. It makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel good. you don't understand. I can be at a grocery store and hear people speaking light language and they don't even know they're speaking it.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
You mean just in your like telepathy?
No, I hear it. I know the dialects. And so I hear people talking, they're just in a good mood. And they'll start like just doing gibberish and making sound tones. I went through a fast food restaurant one day and the cook was, cooking in there and he was speaking a blue avian dialect. It was like a advanced bird humanoid dialect. And he was just, he's going on and he doesn't even realize
Oh my
that he
gosh.
was speaking light language. I hear it from children all the time.
Right. Because they're
My son
closer
and
to
I,
that energy, right? They're
yeah,
remembering that.
they're connecting with their soul's expression. They get excited and it'll just come out and I can hear it, and only because I'm an activator, I have a lot of experience understanding this, and so I hear it all the time. That a lot of the gibberish that you hear from children is actually light language.
But the light language is coming in now because of our ascension, and we
Mhm.
need to have our DNA activated to
Yeah.
get to that fifth dimension.
Yeah, because we're raising in frequency. And so part of it is universal communication of consciousness. So when you speak soul language, no matter what type of language it is, it's deciphered through the soul. The soul understands it. It's an energetic communication. It's not here, right? This is the human, the brain, the brain's trying to understand what you're
Mhm.
saying. So you got to teach it. You have to tell it what light language is so it understands it. But it cannot break it down. Okay. It's
Right.
here in the soul's expression. The soul understands it. So when somebody is speaking soul language, I connect in with it and I start to hear it within me. I hear it within my soul of what they're saying.
Hmm.
And
I mean,
that's how it
as of
comes out.
words, like of what
Yeah,
it
it'll
means.
translate to me
Huh.
what is being said. Yeah, it's really wild.
Like
But
what would be an example? Like what they
um
would be saying?
let me see. What can I say? Okay. When I was activating this one girl, she said to me, I didn't think I could do it.
Hmm.
Right? She says, I cannot believe I lost this part of myself.
Mm.
Okay. And I've had people crying, emotional about it. And then I had people laughing hysterically. How did I forget this?
Wow.
How did we forget how to do this? Because it's natural. This is the way we are supposed to communicate
Hmm. Do you see
inward.
us? Do you see that like in how many years of this ascension, do you feel like are we going to all be at the
Yeah.
grocery store talking like
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh yeah. No, we definitely will. It's part of it. It's definitely part of fourth density communication. Fifth density, you're light. You're light. Your energy.
Right.
Fourth density, you are at a higher vibrational consciousness. You don't allow fear or lower vibration to be in your reality. So that is what humanity really needs to work on.
Right. Do you
Getting
live
out of
there
fear.
now? Do you live there now?
Yeah, I tend to, but I mean, we can get into our heads and bounce back and forth, right?
Right.
Because the collective or what's being programmed on social media, the news, who you're around,
Right.
okay, will also kind of trigger that in you too as well. But yeah, I like to catch it, if so to speak, any
Right.
negativity, and then I change it. It's
Yeah.
called being very mindful of your thoughts and doing energy check-ins. And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
tend to do that.
Yeah. So,
Where
me
are you
too.
at? You
Yeah.
have to be very reflective on what you're consciously manifesting into your experience because you're the creator.
Right.
You're creating through God, and we're all creating through Him.
Right. How do you describe God and how do you live with that?
I describe God as an energy
Okay.
source that we're all connected to, and we're all fractals of God.
And we've all come here to live,
Learn and experience because it would be boring if we didn't, right?
right. Do you feel
Mhm.
like sometimes when there'll be a time that we choose not to, and we've extended enough to where we can just stay with God in that
I
dimension?
think we could if we chose. but most of us want experience. That's why we have dimensional realities happening all at once. We're continuously learning and growing.
How do you see time?
I don't. Everything's happening now.
Right. Everything is happening now. But you know
Yeah,
how long it's taken me to like wrap my head around that?
I know. I know. When I was waking up, I'm like, what do you mean? Because we're taught time here, but it's really
Right.
just an illusion. This is what we call the simulation.
Right.
My
Totally.
guys call it the simulation. And they said, if you look at it as you are like an avatar in a video game, learning how to learn different things and experience, then you won't take it so seriously. You'll
Right.
enjoy it and want to create.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we have been on, have interviewed so many people and listened to so many interviews and
Mhm.
read so many books about that, we're in a game. This is a matrix.
Exactly.
It's like we are the avatar, but what I've really learned too, and what you just reminded me, like it's in becoming aware of what triggers you because we're human, and then
Yeah.
coming back and getting in alignment, but also that we take life so seriously and just follow our joy and
And
fulfill
do that.
soul's mission.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we are programmed that we need to do things we don't enjoy.
Right,
Got to go to college. You got to get a degree in this, even if you don't want to. Our
right,
parents want us to force us to do things we don't want to do. And to me, I didn't follow that norm. I followed my heart and what I was good at that I
right,
thought I could do. But I little did I know that this would be my journey. I always knew I was sensitive, but I didn't understand it.
right,
Right. I mean, everybody's sensitive in some way. Everybody has abilities, but at connecting in with them, we're never taught how to do that unless you're raised in a family that does that. Right.
right,
And so, like I've taught my son Seth is also an activator,
right.
and
Have you ever not activated someone? Has it ever been where they've
Yeah,
been?
I've had those people that were in their head too much. They've been activated, but sometimes they get in their head too much or they don't believe they're activated and they don't go deeper with it or they stop or they don't want to do the shadow work. Shadow work is so important in this line of work. You have to access and understand your shadows and understand when they're projecting so that you can work through it
And how do you do that?
by acknowledging it. Where is my shadow coming from? Why is my shadow projecting in this minute? Right. Usually it comes in triggers. So if somebody triggers you, it's identifying a shadow aspect that needs to be healed.
Right,
Okay. A lot of people have childhood trauma,
right.
or just trauma in general, but that's how we learn. Unfortunately, we got to come and learn, in darkness in order to learn the lessons. But once you learn it, you don't have to relearn it again
Right.
once you
When
heal
you
from it.
when I had my session with you, I wasn't being activated. You were clearing my
Oh,
code,
chakra clearing?
code clearing.
Chakra. Yeah, I was doing chakra alignment and clearing. Yeah.
Okay. So when when I experienced that, you were doing your light language, and like you would say, "Oh, the blue nosed is coming
Yeah.
through."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
explain how these where you
How
can
do I
sense
know?
yeah, how do you know? And because
Um,
I could tell a difference in the
the
way your
dialects
words
and the
were
way the
coming out.
words,
In
right.
fact,
Well,
you
it
said one wait, hold on. When you said, so I'm listening to it, but I was going to tell you this because it was my first experience.
yeah,
But when you started and I could hear your tone and the words you were speaking, and then you're like, okay, this thing's coming in and you're speaking. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're like a different person.
yeah. I'm a channeler, so it literally takes over my body movements. I have symbols all over, and this is part of learning how to channel. I have symbols for different beings. For instance, if I have dragons coming in, my body will start to move like this. See what I'm
Huh.
saying? So identify, oh, there's a dragon coming in. Okay. And then I allow and open up that channel to be communicated. Now, sometimes the dragons are serpent dragons, they're earth dragons, there's water dragons, right? Sometimes they're high vibrational energies, but I know this just from experience from channeling.
Okay.
And that's how I know is opening up the channel, practicing, calling in different energies or guides that I really want to work with. And sometimes they just show up and I'll just start seeing it Sometimes I see what they look like. I could feel what they look like. I get their how they come across, their personalities. So I'll feel energetically on my own body what they feel like, what their personality is like, if they're lovable, if they're, a little more assertive.
Huh.
Okay, they're all different. And for instance, when I channel fairies, and everybody laughs and giggles about that, right? But I've activated so many fairy dialects and so many people that are fairies that are here. They are here to bring joy and happiness. And so they really help to lift your vibration, and they
Hmm.
make you giggle.
Huh.
They're very playful.
And so when you say that, because one of my friends was activated by you and hadn't started speaking fairy.
Yes.
So was she a fairy in a past life? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she's coming back through her human.
Right. She chooses that dialect because that's the one that gives her joy. It's the one that she prefers to speak. And usually, like the way my guides have explained it, is usually your proudest lifetime, or the lifetime that you've had, the most wonderful lifetime that
Huh.
then that's what you choose to express. So mine is more like a shamanic Lemurian dialect.
And when you say you recognize them, is it been a process to know like when that comes through? I mean, it
Yeah.
didn't just come like, hi, I'm the, this is who this
It
is.
takes it's about connecting inward and channeling, and I'll hear it. It's just when I was activated with light language, it really busted through the doors of hearing and seeing and feeling and knowing. And your taste buds will, the clairgustance and the clairalience, so your smell and taste enhances.
Huh.
Even with foods, you can taste something that's not right or chemical based. I can't drink alcohol anymore because it closes my throat. My guides don't want me touching it. I can have like one drink, but it's not something
Right.
they like me to, because it will interfere with my communication.
Right.
Okay. So there's certain things that I have given up.
Hmm.
Even coffee is not something they like me to
Oh.
drink, only because it hurts my stomach. So
Mhm.
I just pay attention to how my body reacts to certain foods, and go with that. I'm not somebody who believes in you have to be vegan, or you have to be, I believe in you eat what resonates with you.
Right.
I don't believe in all of that. Yeah.
Right.
And my guides say it's not yes, high vibrational foods will help you and help you communicate better, but which is, fresh vegetables and fruits and all that. But you came here to experience. So if you're, and there is no here, it's free will. And so nothing, you might, if you eat too much sugar, you might get something that'll happen energetically in a physical form that'll kind of
Right.
manifest physically into an illness, but it's still your choice to decide what you want to do.
Right. When you said you were from Lumer, like a Lumerian from Earth, and that was part one of your past life, like how do you
Yeah.
just,
And how I figured that out, because I didn't know what I was speaking when I first was activated. I just knew I was a shaman, or I connected with the earth.
hmm,
That was something I've always been connected to. Oils came first. I was fascinated by organic plant-based medicines, and I had a reaction to it. It made me feel better when I used them, right?
hmm,
I always had some sort of side effect to medication. Not that that's not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying me personally. And so I gravitated to that. So nature is a big part of who I am and who we are, connecting with our grandmother, Mother Earth.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So it came across from me practicing calling in dialects to channel. I called in Lemurian, and I realized I was Lemurian. They started speaking it the same as it was my dialect.
Because it came so natural or it just was easy?
Yeah, I started to channel it, and it was the same dialect I was speaking, and that's how I knew I was Lemurian. I had to part of my mission here was to figure it out myself. That was for me to figure out who I was myself. That is what I part of my mission.
Because
People come to me and always say, "Hey, Deb, what am I speaking here?" And I'm like, "I'm not teaching you anything if you're not tuning in to asking how, like I'm teaching you the tools on how I figured it out." And part of it was calling them into practice.
Explain
channeling.
that. Tell me how you do that.
So usually go into meditation and I will choose on which type of being I want to connect in with.
Can you do that
So,
now?
Yeah.
Okay, do it.
Do you want to choose one?
Sure. Like, what about, I have them written down because there's 15 light language dialects. Is that correct?
Oh no, there's
There's,
more.
okay. Well, I wrote it off. I saw your website and I was seeing,
Oh no, I have more than that.
okay.
I have more than that now, but there's so many different dialects. If you can think of all the beings in the universe that there could possibly be, there's a
What
dialect.
about Egyptian?
Yeah, we can call in. Now there's different forms of Egyptian dialects.
Okay.
Okay, meaning, yeah, I can
meaning
bring
what?
one. I can just bring one in. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I do have one that's a guide to me. She just came in. I just felt that energetic shift. Okay.
Okay.
And that was Sekhmet. She was an Egyptian Lyran princess.
Hmm.
If you've ever heard of her, she has the lion face.
Yes.
Okay.
And you felt that.
Yeah,
And you
for
can,
some reason, I just felt and heard her come in, and I got the chills on the left side of my body. And she's telling me that she's here to administer that understanding of her dialect. Now, remember, there were so many different types of beings in Egypt during that time, that timeline. You see the bird heads, right? The bird beings. Those are blue
right.
avians. There's different types of bird beings. They all have different dialects.
Right.
But what I find fascinating, and this is what I've learned about Egyptian, is they'll bring in the Egyptian culture, the Egyptian human aspect dialect, and then they mix with their own from where they came from. Okay, meaning some of them are Lyran.
Okay.
Some of them come from, like the blue avians. They're all different. And so, but they all have a little similar flair to it. That reminds me of the Egyptian. So I'm going to go ahead and what I call open up the channel, and I'm going to demonstrate how I open up the channel. You'll see my mannerisms change.
Right.
Okay, because she'll be coming through.
Okay.
Yes, I know, Sati, Shako. See what I'm doing right now? This is my dialect. I'm setting the intention.
Okay.
Okay, to connect with her. This is what I do: protection, connection, and I'm just allowing to surrender to the channel. Okay, it is a surrendering feeling. It's a letting go and allowing. It's her to access my physical vessel. Okay. Yes, I know, Sati, Shako. Okay. This is my way of just aligning. Mosarei, Marai Sotu, Rambo, Marai Hiai, Rai, Saporondo, Raiki, Isandisi Peri. Salolopeti, Asatu Sapurai, Asati, Shunu, Rai, Otu Sapeti, Esaredi Shipuromba, Randaradi, Spontuspati, Asaradi Shafugati, Sporondorati, Alalo Sapeti Spati, Andaspeti Shafukara. She's saying that it's a pleasure to connect with you today and demonstrate how simple this is.
Right.
She gives me the feeling of joy and
Yeah,
happiness.
you could tell.
And that's why I say, how is this bad?
Right.
Right. And so this is how I open the connection, is just connecting with those that have love and compassion for humanity. She's giving me lots of emotion of love as she's coming through. Okay. So sometimes I get very emotional because I take on their emotions, depending on what it is. Okay. But that's a demonstration. She's still very strong in my energy, but she's also on the left side of me. And how do I know that? I feel a shift. I feel the shift energetically. It's like somebody, when they come up right next to you and you feel that presence, that's what it feels like.
Huh. And you go.
but I will feel like the chills,
Okay.
like the chills before she comes in. Yeah.
If I, when I did my, when you cleared me, and the first thing was the blue,
The blue
note.
avians.
Uh-huh. You said they're very high,
High
like
vibration.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you sense when you're with somebody, like when you were with me, what does
Mhm.
that mean? Like, why would they come first? And why, like, what
Because
does
it's
that
part
say
of who
about my soul?
it's part of who you are. You already knew this answer.
Okay.
It's part of who you are. You're very connected to them. They're
Okay.
very advanced.
That's what
Okay.
I mean. Okay.
Yeah, they're very advanced, meaning they're on a higher level of consciousness. Okay. But you've been one of them. So they do come in to support those that are in alignment with their energy. And you are too. You're a very strong connection to them.
Okay. And so every every dialect that you brought through
Was a connection to you.
was a connection to me, and it's
Mhm.
something that I've been before.
Yeah, a fractal of you, or a lifetime you might have had, or whatever's in alignment with your contract. They're coming in with the coding for that. Remember, blue avians, Octurians hold coding. So do the mantis, to help us heal and help to kind of crack us open,
Okay.
so to speak, to get rid of. They teach us how to get rid of the dense energy that we hold on to, because we're not taught to do these things.
Right.
Okay. And so their job is to bring in the information. They're not here to save us. We have to clean up that mess.
Right.
Right. But they're here to teach us the tools that were forgotten.
To
So
get
to
us to the
empower us.
next. So the
Yeah.
whole intention of that is to get us moving with Mother Earth's ascension.
Right. To connect in with Mother Earth, because she's the one who grounds us. She's the one who charges our battery
Right.
and takes away anything that's unwanted. That's why we say ground, right? Because it has electric charge. The earth has electric charge, and she charges you, just recharges your battery. And
You
not
know,
everybody takes that time out to walk the earth and really connect in with her.
like just taking your shoes off and walking.
Just
Yeah.
walking in the earth, walking in the grass, sitting and connecting. What I mean by that is like leaning up against a tree, close your eyes, connect with that vibration. It's
Mhm.
just like when you're talking to me, you're tuning into me and my frequency, but we can also connect in and tune into the vibration of Mother Earth, the
Right.
plants, the trees, the flowers. You call these flower children or flower childs, the hippies or whatever. They're very connected with the earth. They're very connected with the flowers, and they can feel them and they can hear them.
Right.
Okay. We all can. It's a choice to decide to connect in with them.
And
We could see faces in the trees and the plants.
yeah, you can, it might have been on your channel, about someone, maybe it was you. I don't, where you could, where you leaned against a tree and you were channeling the trees.
Yes. Yeah. I was channeling the tree. Yeah.
So explain that, because I had another woman in my, group
It's
that does
It's
that.
just like channeling any kind of energy. I can connect in with the fly and channel that dialect. Okay. It's matching the vibration of that frequency. Once you start to become an activator and start really working with your own energy, you can match that vibration and speak it. Okay.
So if you saw a
Just,
fly,
aha, I
really?
can. Yeah. It's very easy to connect in with it.
Huh.
Once you calibrate to it, it becomes a fractal of you. You can connect in with it and talk to. I've
Okay.
talking to the. I know it sounds crazy. I've talking to the lizards.
Huh.
They've come up. They usually, when I'm doing dragon events or something related to dragons, they'll show up because they're connected to the dragons.
How do the dragons talk? Because I know a
They're all
friend of mine.
different.
Oh, okay.
They're all different. Mush ni asti satugushya. Yeah, they have a lot of
Hmm.
heat. Some are more water. So they're all different sounding dragons. There's so many different types of dragons. There's even fairy dragons.
Hmm. How do
They're
the
higher
fairies
frequency, but they come in with a dragon dialect. Yeah.
how do the fairies sound? And if we were if we were in a higher density, if we were in a higher density of just as a human, vibrationally, would we be able to, they say like in 2026, 2027, the ETs are you're going to start seeing this,
Mhm.
they're coming to be visible to the human.
Right.
Is that
Well,
because our
those,
vibration is going to be higher and we're going to
yes,
be,
yes,
okay,
the collective will be, they can't do it. They can't have contact until the collective consciousness is in agreement at a certain percentage. Okay,
like
the
over
percentage,
50? What would be?
I think they said 60%. It's got to be over. It can't be even. It's got to be over the amount, okay, of
Oh, okay.
percentage of understanding. Now, from my understanding, the first contact, a lot of them are going to be Asasani, which are hybrids of us. Okay. Now, remember how a lot of people were talk about abductions and things like
Right.
this. Okay. Those were contracted on a spiritual level to donate DNA for the hybrid program. And these are for the new children coming in that are going to be like us. We're going to be advancing as Asasani. They're coming in, but I'm sorry, they're correcting me. Yael,
Hmm.
or the Yael, which are also a higher percentage of human DNA, less percentage of what we call the Zetas, reticuli, whatever you want to call them, which are still us. They're just in a different timeline of existence.
So when they come to Earth as a hybrid of us, we won't notice that they're different, but now
Yeah,
we're
we
going to,
will. But they're going to look so similar to us. Their eyes are going to be a little bit bigger. They're going to
okay,
have
but
characteristics that are a little bit more, uh, I don't know, prominent.
uh-huh,
Their eyes will be bigger, they said, but they're going to be very telepathic in nature too, because we're natural telepaths
right,
here. We are natural telepaths. We just have to remember to learn how to communicate that way.
right.
Yeah.
When they do come, when you say hybrid and to advance our DNA to get to this,
It's
keep moving
intermingling
forward.
them into socialization.
So they'll be like marrying a human.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how all of this hybridization
Right,
happened. This is how it all started and why you have different looking beings and different people that are different.
right.
All different genetics.
Well,
Pretty cool, huh?
so with my head's spinning, but with these hayals, what do you call him?
Yeah, yeah.
Yao yao.
Yeah.
Spell it.
Starts with a Y. Yayel. Yeah.
Y-E-L, yeah, yeah. Um, so when they come in a couple years, when we advance to that vibration and we can see them basically,
Yeah. Whoever's in alignment with that reality.
right?
Yeah.
And that it could be my daughter Paige meeting one and getting married and having a
Down the
family.
road. Yeah. You never know.
Oh, geez.
They're going to start off with as children, right?
Okay.
Children hybrids. So a lot of us seeded from different areas of the cosmos. For instance, like the Lemurians, they were Pleiadians that seeded here. And some of them were Lyran Pleiadians. So, and seeded here as Lemurians.
On Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what about other planets?
Just depends. There's Andromeda, but they're all fractals, right? They all came here, but then they had to leave. The contract shifted, right? And they had to leave, but there's a lot of history here. We see it in Egypt. There's also Lemurian Atlantis were during the same timeline. There's also inner
Right. And
Earth beings,
what
which
does
are
that
like
mean?
elven, like almost like Lord of the Rings looking um,
Okay.
individuals. Their ears were a little bit longer, but they were from, we call Agarthan, which is Agartha was the inner Earth beings. Okay,
And what is their purpose for being inner Earth?
it was just a different society that was just inside, you
Huh.
know. Yeah, a lot like here, but it wasn't unknown. Like you could visit. It wasn't like something that was hidden, or yes, it was hidden, but everybody knew. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Mhm.
something that there's just different types of beings. It just wasn't just humans here.
Right. So will we, as we advance, have a more of an understanding of our lineage and what,
Mhm.
like, that'll just be part of who we are as a human, but as a hybrid?
Yeah, yeah, it'll be a new hybrid. Yeah, which is needed because they're very technology advanced. They're super smart. And
Okay.
so it's helping us with understanding how to create things that are beneficial, as far as technology.
And those are the babies that are going to be coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they come in as babies,
They'll
they
be
are,
children, not necessarily babies. They'll be children. I don't know. They haven't
oh,
explained the whole process. I'm just saying that they will be here. Yeah.
okay. So let me just clear this up here. How do you not be a baby and you're just going to land here as a child?
Yeah, they're gonna bring them here.
They
Yeah.
are?
Mhm.
Okay. And they're there. Where are they now?
They're making me feel they're on ships.
Okay.
They're on because we have hybrids on ships because part of the DNA was from us, right? And they had to do the experiment on, now keep in mind, these ships look like worlds.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not like, oh, they're in a ship and they're like, and these little,
Germinating on a little platter.
right. It's not like what we see on the movies. It's like, a world very similar to ours, so they understand it.
Where there's no, will we be to the place where we don't need to eat? Or, I mean, how does that work with our
Eventually that will happen
systems?
when we all ascend to fifth density. Yeah, when we're all energy. But don't
And,
worry about that. You're here to experience, the physical ascension.
and
So
we were like, do you feel like the people that are here right now are like higher leveled souls that are here to
a lot
help?
of them are here. Yeah, a lot are. Some are choosing not to wake up. Some are just here to learn lessons. It's part of their spiritual growth. And so, is my middle son contracted to ascend with me? No,
Mm,
contracted to learn lessons, but he's still going to be in my reality. Does that make sense?
right,
It's just like we choose what we understand and what we believe in. He just walks a different timeline, but still here. Everything is happening now.
right.
Yeah.
When we,
So
so what?
I've learned to not worry.
Right.
Mhm.
So when we pass on and this body is no longer part of our soul, do I like recognize your energy in a different,
Yeah. In
how do you
fact,
see
that
that?
is how you recognize people, is by their energy signature. Just like when my grandmother comes to visit, I immediately know it's her just based on her vibration.
Right.
See, and it's an energy. And when somebody says, oh, do you know your higher self name? I'm like, I don't have a name. It's energy. We're energy. It's a signature. It's a vibration.
Do you feel like, I've listened to so many near death experience people and they say
Oh,
when you too,
no, never.
oh, you
That's
don't.
fascinating. Mm-mm.
So when they say they've gone on and they can experience the other side, it's so much more real
Yeah.
than here.
Yeah.
Like this is such more like a dream and we're just like,
And what I've seen, because I do believe that I remember, sometimes I visit and I remember, and what I see is that I'm consistently creating
mhm,
what I want. I've seen a beach with a pool in the beach and me flying through there and touching the water, and I mean crazy stuff that I know that I was visiting the other side, which is the true essence of who we are. This is just the
right.
fake reality.
What
Yeah.
about when we dream? How do you see
Yeah.
dreams?
Well, everything's different for me when I dream. It just depends on my vibe before I go to sleep, whether I'm too stressed out, I'll have dreams that aren't so good, or it's teaching me to, hey, you need to really reflect on what you're thinking about.
And you stressed out? I thought you didn't take life seriously.
Oh God, I'm still in it. And that's the thing. I don't pretend to be this oh, I'm above everybody.
No, I know.
No, that's not how I roll. I think that everybody is equal, and I just think that we've all chosen different, missions. And mine has to be, is really helping the light workers. I mean, I help with the really advanced light workers and starseeds that are here to um, help humanity, and I help them to remember who they are.
Right.
That's my job. And I see that, see, people don't understand when I look at you, I look at people, I could see their light, I could see their contracts, I could see, and sometimes when I don't see it, then I know they're not contracted, or maybe they're serving a different purpose for a lesson for somebody, and they might be leaving sooner. And so, but I see everything in a higher perspective now. Did I, 10 years ago? No, I didn't
Right.
see it that way. I had to consistently go inward, and I'm always asking my guides questions, always
Mhm.
asking my higher self questions to help me understand the path and what I need to be focusing on. And have I perfected everything? No, I have
But when you
not.
see me, for an example, I'm contracted? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you have a soul mission contract. Yeah, you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't.
Okay.
Mhm.
When I oh gosh, when I think of where you're
Mm.
going and what?
They said that you're contracted to give people the experience and help them understand from different levels of understanding, because there's a lot of closed-minded people, but you're helping to create movement in that way so people can, think, oh, wow, okay, I really thought about this before. And it's helpful that she's bringing these things to my attention so I don't feel so crazy.
Right. And I mean, that's my
Mhm.
passion, is that
Yeah.
obviously, because I love doing this. I love
Mhm.
seeing
You're
people.
fascinated by all the different, yeah, modalities that are people doing, and,
Mhm.
yeah.
Where do you see yourself going?
Um, well, they've I do see myself, on stage,
Oh,
talking about light language. Yeah, I've seen the stage several times. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully somebody will make that happen. These different events that I'll be going to, talking about light language.
you're gonna come
And
to my
activating people is my goal.
okay.
Activating groups of people. Like,
And you can do that as a
well,
group?
yeah, I do group activations too as
Okay.
well.
So when you
Mhm.
come to my retreat, you could stand up on the stage and activate?
Activate people, yeah, as long as they're open to it, and that's
Okay.
what they understand they're doing and they're there for.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah.
By doing what you do when you do it.
In
Just
person, it's a different vibration. I mean, it obviously you get a lot out of just doing it. I do everything by Zoom, but like I've activated my son in person, and it's extremely powerful in person.
huh. And that was him wanting that because your other son didn't want that.
I had to allow my son to make that choice. Yeah. Um, my middle son is here to learn, like he's college grad, like he's in it. Okay. He knew what he wanted to do. Okay. He's
Right.
in the music
Okay.
industry. Okay. Now, and my oldest son has abilities, but he fears them.
Huh.
And so I just allow him to wake up on his own time.
Right.
Okay. Seth, I knew because he was really sensitive as a child, at feeling energy. And I knew that he was extra sensitive.
Hmm.
Um, and he realized he needed to kind of remove some people from his life,
Right.
that were causing a lot of the way he was feeling. And when he did that, he started like watching me, hearing me talk. And then we were out on the patio one day, and I heard from one of his guides, he's ready.
Huh.
And I looked at him, I said, do you want to be activated today? And he said, yeah, sure. He was
Huh.
shocked, his eyes bugged out.
Oh, funny.
Because it was so simple for him. He was actually channeling his guides, right away. He was very
Huh.
connected, and yeah, opened him up. I've also activated my niece. That she started doing shadow work and stopped because it was something she wasn't ready for.
Okay.
Everybody, if you're not wanting to really work on your things that need to be
Hmm.
worked out, then don't get activated. Like, it really is going to help you to heal. That's what it's here for.
That's what it's here for.
Mhm.
Exactly. And I understand that. So
Yeah.
when you say, we're still human and we've had these traumas in childhood, but by doing this consistently, you're clearing all your wounds and
Yep. Yeah. And ancestral karma, the karma
your
that came before you.
past. Yes.
Yeah. Meaning our parents' karma. because
Right.
you're stopping the pattern, the repetitive pattern of behavior, meaning I'm not going to do this to my children
Right.
because I'm healing from it. So I see what and how this affects my own children
Right.
when I feel this way or when I react, because that's what we do. We take on those roles. And then we,
Mhm.
you hear that expression, oh my God, you act just like mom, or you're acting just like
Yes.
that, right?
Uh,
And yeah, I mean, but it's part of learning here. But
right.
once you're reflective of those behaviors and you work through them and your consciousness, like you're conscious of it,
Right.
then it's easier to, work through it. And,
Right.
I was a hot mess. I mean, I admit it. I was just Debbie Downer. I was so negative,
Huh.
and I finally I had a reading with somebody and she's like, you need to get out of that mindset. You got to start being more positive. And I started being very reflective of the words that I was saying and how it
Hmm.
was creating my experience. And then things start shifting for me.
Yeah. I'm
Just
the
doing
word
that.
police. Yes. I'm the word police. And when I hear anything, I'm like,
Right.
change your words or like really change your words, change your life. You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
just can't, we can't, being a mom and for the last 18 years and raising them with that mindset, because I've done all the work before I had them as children, as babies. But, it's like, we can't talk, we know, even if we don't feel that
Yep.
good, let's talk about the well part of us, you know,
Yeah. Right. Let's focus on the things you're grateful
good
for.
for, yeah,
Right.
all the good stuff. Yeah. They've had a gratitude journal since they could stick figures.
That's beautiful. But see how you're changing things. Because
Right.
were you taught that?
No.
That's my point. You're a
Right.
generational healer. You're clearing the karma and you're teaching them a better way
Right.
because it doesn't work. That old
Right.
way does not work. And the controlling, a lot of like what I see from old generations, such as my parents and our grandparents, is there's a lot of control.
Right.
And that does not teach your kids anything. It makes them
Mm-hmm.
right.
Right.
And then they don't want to tell you anything. They don't want to share any of their life experiences with you because they're afraid of your reaction. Because they
Right.
want to control. They like think they can control you because they give birth to you, right?
Right. Right.
But really, it's allowing them to figure out what they want to do with their life. I've done that with all of my kids.
Yeah, I love that.
Right? I just don't believe in control. I think that I want them to be happy and decide what they want to do.
Right, for sure. I live that. I totally know that. And I feel so
Mhm.
grateful that I have that outlook. So for them, it's such
Mhm.
a, follow your joy,
Yeah,
find what you
exactly.
love, and
Yeah.
that's where it will take you to where
And
you're
it
supposed to
it
be.
might take a few years for them to figure it out,
Right,
It might take some time, but when they do, they're gonna have that aha moment and, you
right. I
know,
love that.
you're there for them to
Right,
support it,
right.
no matter what
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've taken an hour of your Saturday and
Hopefully I answered the questions
you
you wanted.
did. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I can't wait. I'm just like, I can't wait to put this out there and share your
Oh,
magic. And it's just so it's what it does for me is like I see myself from a higher perspective. It makes you look at yourself from a higher perspective
mhm,
more so than before I learned from you and
mhm.
learned this kind of these what you do, this gift, and that we all have that.
We all have it.
And we've all been blinded, blindfolded, or have blinders on in our life.
Illusion. Yes,
Yeah,
the
the
illusion.
illusion, and the more people that can understand how powerful they are and
Yeah.
live in that place. And
And the illusion can be a beautiful thing too, though.
right.
Right?
Yes.
Because you're
Yeah.
separated and you're creating from separation. But see, now that we're elevating to ascending, we're all one, right?
Right.
And remembering that we're all connected to one another. And so we need to love each other.
Right.
That's the key to get out of this. If we still create fear
Mhm.
mongering, you're still going to be stuck in that duality. You're still going to be stuck in the learning lesson, the
Right.
learning patterns.
Right. I love
So
it.
it's
So
a
how does
choice though, right? It's a
it is a
choice.
choice.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's I always say it's the choices you make is you're
Yeah.
creating your life. It's all through
And
your
if people
choices.
watch this, they can believe what they want. It's their choice. I'm not here to
Yeah.
convince you
No.
of anything.
Right. No.
Like I believe in free will. I believe in whatever your belief system is, I truly respect that. That's
Right.
that's
That's their
their vibe.
journey.
Yeah, that's their journey.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is mine.
Yeah. And I love
Okay.
it, right?
Yeah,
And I love every second of it.
right.
How
Enjoy
can
it.
people find you? How can people find you, Deb?
My website, mysticcartspace.com.
Okay. And you can,
Um,
there's so many things you
I
offer.
am on YouTube, Mystic Heart Space on YouTube. I'm just started my YouTube again. I'm just
Oh,
kind
good.
of building it again. I'm going to start posting more videos, video content on there. At my TikTok, Mystic Heart Space on TikTok, and Facebook. I'm mainly in my group called Light Language Awakening, and it's a public group. There's quite a few, like 23,000 members
Oh,
in
wow.
that. But there's a lot of people in there that speak light language. So there's a lot of posts in there and writings and people kind of waking up to their own little journeys. And so I'm really trying to embrace that they share their
Yeah.
journey.
That's
So
amazing.
people can say, wow, there's other people like this,
Right.
that are experiencing the same thing and we all get support.
Right. That reminds me, I was looking at that Facebook group and they put like where they have they see codes on the
On the
wall and
walls and
or
things.
things that
Yeah.
they draw.
Mhm.
What is that?
It comes in so many different forms that your guides are trying to wake you up and let you see. So some people, they take pictures and they'll see codes and things like this. And yes, it's to help wake you up. It's to help you understand that yes, you're not crazy in this, and we're trying to communicate with you.
Huh.
You know, coding comes through internal communication, just like soul language. And so a lot of people will begin with drawing first and drawing
Right.
the coding first. For me, it was opposite. I do remember writing it as a child, but I just didn't understand I was writing that, right?
Okay.
This is mine. You see this in the back.
Oh,
It's all I
okay. Yeah.
created in the background here.
Oh,
But mine comes more in like a lot of people do beautiful codes and these beautiful structures, and I don't do that. Mine is more coding. It looks like computer coding and
huh.
language, like in that.
Huh. Interesting.
I
Yeah.
know everybody's different, but see, I'm not really an artist. Okay,
Oh,
but those people that are very artistic, they draw these beautiful pieces that are incredible
huh.
and they're very high vibrational. I encourage everybody to grab a pen and paper and just write with your emotion, because the first thing that's going to come out is emotion and it will look like scribbles.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And that is emotion. That's emotion. It could be trauma. It could be just you allowing. And then eventually it will start coming in the form of remembrance.
Huh.
That's how it kind of comes forth. Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, interesting. Oh, Deb, you're amazing. Oh, I'm so excited for people to get to know
Oh, thank
you and
you. I'm just so happy this aligned
me
for
too.
us.
Yes.
Everything
Perfect.
had to be its divine timing. We had
Yep.
to wait till after Mercury retrograde and eclipse energy and yeah. But
Oh,
thank
so
you for
fun.
having
Oh,
me. Thank you for interviewing. It was so much fun. I love to talk about this.
I know. I
So
love it. Thank you. Thank you.